Good afternoon, Dr. Aarts. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Tumi.
Thank you very much for agreeing to be on this interview and to lead on our webinar. And thank you above all for the excellent paper which was selected by the IFSO Communication Committee. It's really a very good paper, and I found it interesting for two reasons. One of them is its excellent focus on nutritional outcomes in bariatric surgery. As bariatric surgeons, we frequently focus a bit too much on weight loss outcomes, on diabetes remission outcomes, and we can easily forget the importance of nutrition, the importance of nutritional deficiency after bariatric surgery. So thank you for that. And the other thing which I found really interesting about this paper is its focus on sleeve gastrectomy. Because the paradigm which I found in many bariatric surgeons is that a sleeve gastrectomy is considered an operation where you don't need a proper nutritional supplementation, and frequently is thought of as an operation where you need much less supplementation than other bariatric operations. So it's great that you focused on these two issues. So thank you very much. Would it be possible to tell us why you decided to conduct this study and give us a brief summary about it, please, Dr. Aarts?
Thank you so much, and thank you for the kind words. I must say that we already did a similar study quite a number of years ago, and that was focusing on Roux-en-Y gastric bypass and multivitamin use. And everybody, of course, knows that with Roux-en-Y gastric bypass surgery, it is eminent to prevent deficiencies from developing, of course. But many of our colleagues, being a bariatric surgeon myself, still told me that there was no need for any preventive measurements after sleeve gastrectomy. And perhaps that's one of the reasons, of course, why it became so popular. I don't even know the exact percentage, but in the last publications, it was well over 70% of worldwide procedures performed. And with these numbers in mind, if we would be wrong in that sense and deficiencies would occur, it would be strange not to have preventive measurements taken like multivitamins for this very large group of patients now, slowly but certainly, well, covering the whole of the earth, so to speak. And we did a small study with very heavy sleeve patients, because in our clinic where I used to work, it was actually the first step towards a BPDDS. And we showed that so many patients after 2 years had already developed one or more deficiencies, actually 100% of patients, that we thought, well, that must also be the case in some way for these perhaps a little bit less heavy sleeve patients. So we said, if we want to do it right, let's do a proper randomized RCT. And to give a little bit about the methodology, we thought that if we would follow the existing literature in advices and what the ASMBS at that moment in time, that was 2010, advised us, we probably would find significant outcomes. And I can tell you already, without giving away the actual outcomes, that we were quite surprised with the amount of deficiencies that developed. So not the ones that already existed preoperatively, but especially the ones that tend to develop in that first year already. And the funny thing actually was that we were completely wrong. So we tried to do our best, and the problem was that it wasn't enough. So the outcome showed that on the one hand, you can prevent a lot of these deficiencies of developing. On the other hand, it needs to be a lot more than what we used to know or think, at least in terms of the amounts of micronutrients given. So very special findings. And of course, the first RCT in this patient group concerning multivitamins which in my opinion will change a lot of opinions on giving preventive micronutrients to patients getting a gastric sleeve.
Totally agree. Really good, really good. Did you find it difficult to convince colleagues to conduct a study which focused on nutritional outcomes?
Yes, especially because it's exactly as you already said during the introduction, is that we're surgeons, right? So on average, I mean, I didn't actually get any colleges on micronutrients during my MD training, and it only came to me after I already got involved in bariatric surgery. And I was the one that had to actually prescribe the medications for patients that became deficient. And it was so strange that we were prescribing so much medication, vitamin B12, ferritin, everything, without even thinking about prevention. And because many of our colleagues, don't believe or believed in that concept, of course, and perhaps that it has to do a little bit with the way you do your follow-up. They perhaps didn't see it. But it's a big thing for patients because the quality of life in the end lowers. I mean, if you're one of the patients that becomes anemic, of course, well, it tends to lower your spirits. It's very hard to convince colleagues, but with more and more data coming, so we see a lot of increase in the amount of publications on this subject in latter years that all actually show the same outcome, which is good, right? So there was a lot of diversity in the beginning, but now all the outcomes seem to be saying the same thing, that you need to use something preventive. And now, slowly but certainly, you see in all the congresses that you go that people tend to start believing that you have to give something to prevent these deficiencies of developing. Indeed, yeah. But it's been a long and hard road.
You know, I read the paper before, and I read it again this morning, and I'm so tempted to ask you all the questions which I really want to ask you now, and not wait for the journal club on 26th of March. But I have to be stopped. I have to stop myself. So the paper is available online, and it's a free paper, and it's definitely free for everybody who is an IFSO member. So I encourage everybody to read this paper, and please turn up to our journal club on 26th of March at 1 o'clock Central European time. You will find times in all your time zones on the IFSO Facebook page from tomorrow, so please turn up. I also encourage not only bariatric surgeons to turn up, but also all our allied health professionals, integrated health, dietitians, nurses, psychologists. Please turn up to discuss this. This paper deals with issues which all of us are involved with on a daily basis. It's a very important paper, and it's a wonderful paper. So please come to the journal club. Dr. Aarts, again, I thank you very much for this interview, and I thank you for the paper and for agreeing to come onto our journal club on 26th of March. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. See you soon. And if you have any questions for me, do also post them on Facebook from the IFSO community, so I can answer all your questions during the session. Thank you. Speak to you on the 26th.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.